There's blood on your web, Theseus. Wipe it out. By Spooky Serpent. Chapter 5. Trigger warnings: human trafficking, past abuse, brainwashing, injury and blood, weaponry, hallucinations, vomit and swearing. So, we crossed Volgograd with early 20s to 30s men who moved to America? And none of these people fit your description, Toba comments, antennas flickering back and forward. His four wings are fluttering behind him, settling every couple of seconds before starting again. Sorry, Phil, but I can't find anything. Inside of Tobo's and Rambo's house is not what Phil ever expected. He always thought the boys would have a more chaotic design, each wall a different color type deal. Instead, the three beds is filled with soft blues and grays. The windows are large, allowing the light to hit the furniture that is more comfortable than necessary. With Tobo's garden out back, flowers spanning meters, and Rambo's library, the house feels like a home. Despite Phil's house being right next door, he can't help but enjoy being in the boys' house. Something in him settles knowing they're safe and comfortable here. Do you even have a solid description of Theseus? Techno asked, pink hair pulled into a bun, strands falling across his face. Phil shrugs. He's taller than me, slim and quick. He's holding the gun in his right hand, so right-handed. The mask covers his lower face, and the hood covers his hair and eyes. Are you even sure he's Russian? Rambo asked. Bi-color is curious as he slouches against the wall behind Tubbo. I mean, Jack can easily mimic accents if he wants. What if this guy can do that? Something flickers in Wilbur's eyes. Before Phil can open his mouth to assure Rambo that Theseus was definitely Russian, his face was being held by callous fingers. Playing guitar does it seems. Phil, Wilbur breathes, and there's a hint of compulsion in his voice. Favorite color? Green, Phil replies, and then he pats his son's hand, slowly pulling away from his cheeks. You didn't compel me, Will. I lived with you long enough to know the signs. Just checking, Wilbur mutters, but there's fear in his eyes to make Phil squeeze his hands tight. I'm more interested in the fact he didn't ask any questions unless you asked one first, Techno says, fingers playing with the strands of hair at his neck. The opening line of communication, and yet he didn't respond. Why? He's been very calm about things until I asked if he was running from someone, Phil reminds him. And then he asked me if I was immortal. It was almost sarcastic, like he was mocking me for asking a rhetorical question. Tubbo pulls a leg to his chest, head tilting to Rambo. They share a look. So he is running from someone? Tubbo says, antennas twitching. Hence the accent, Rambo murmurs. Stop with the accent thing. We all know the likelihood of him being like you is slim. Phil watches Rambo wince, and then sigh. Rambo's past is a soft spot, especially with how little he remembers of it. But Phil had made sure the boy had enough professionals available for any issue that arose. Phil cares for his adoptive family. He will do everything in his power to protect them. His name is clearly a sore spot, Wilbur says, interrupting the poking war from the boys before them. It did get an emotion from him, Phil agrees. Wilbur turns to him. He knows about you not being able to die, and yet he does nothing about it. Techno snorts. It's almost like he doesn't care. Silence. They all spin to Techno, eyes wide. Oh my god, Wilbur hisses. He's another Techno. Huh? Techno glares over at Wilbur. Bruh, I care about things. I'm not some cold mercenary. Tell that to your face, Tubbo replies, and when Techno shots him the same glare, Tubbo sticks his tongue at the man. I mean, Rambo says, coming to Tubbo's defense. I haven't seen you smile before. I've smiled, Techno snaps, and Wilbur scoffs. Yeah, when? Name a time and place. Techno pauses, clearly trying to think about it. Then Phil loses it, laughter leaving his lips in a rush. Techno glares at all of them. It should be intimidating, but to Phil, this is his son. There's nothing scary about him when it comes to the boy he raised. I hate you all. Techno groans. Wilbur grins. He reaches over to tug Techno's hair, laughing when Techno slaps his hand away. Love you too, Tech. So, what now? Tuba says to Phil. I can try the whole of Russia, but that's even if he's Russian. Like Rambo keeps pointing out every 5 seconds. Theseus is a Greek myth, Rambo hisses, and Tuba narrows his eyes at him. Don't assume ethnicity based on names, boo, Tuba replies in the same tone. I'm not. Ugh. Rambo throws his hands up in the air. I agree with Techno. I hate you. I want a divorce. Tuba tuts. Then I'm taking the house. Phil owns the house, Tobo. Mine now. You two are so chaotic, Phil mutters. You say that like you don't enjoy it. Tobo replies with a cheeky smile. Who's the one that saves your ass with the captain? Who's the one that keeps Quackity on our side? Tobo, you friend to nuke his casino, Wilbur reminds him. You're also the one the friend built a cookie business next door to bankrupt him. The cookie outpost is a collective effort, Rambo murmurs. And the nukes? Techno asked. Because he's still not forgiven me for the whole pickaxe face scar deal. Wait. Phil sighs, and Wilbur starts giggling as Techno holds up a threatening finger. Huh? He tried to execute me. He was our lawyer. He wanted the death penalty for me. What was I supposed to do? Not take a pickaxe to his face? Rambo says, and when Techno spins to face him, Rambo shrugs, hunching over to make himself smaller. Never mind. Really, Quackity has been one of Phil's best investments. After returning to the syndicate, running a crime family meant he needed someone to get him out of politics and free from prisons. Not that they could hope to hold him, but the reputation of never setting foot in the cage was one he wishes to keep. Quackity was a survivor, and a smart one. Running Phil back on their first meeting that he was getting his degree, well, Phil could kill him right there and then. Fast forward to now, and Quackity has his own empire and helps fuel the lucrative appeal of working with the syndicate. Pay a few debts, help out with the family, and end up a billionaire. Tobo, Phil says, hopefully ending this particular argument. He wasn't going to say that Quackity deserved it, but Techno always hated slights against them, however small they may be. Look into the whole of Russia. Somewhere Theseus has to exist. And the lead is a good one. As for the rest of you, if we see him, be careful, Wilbur finishes, leaning over to pat Phil's wings. We know Dad, and we'll be. You two may need to go out together so Rambo can teleport you away from Theseus' trigger finger, Techno says, and both boys frown at him. But Tuba tries and Phil sighs. I agree with Techno, who looks at them and softens his eyes. I don't want anything to happen to you. Tuba's wings flutter behind him. I know you want to wait until we're 18, but if you're that worried... No, Phil says, voice firm. They all drop their gaze. If he was that much of a threat, I wouldn't let you out of this house. But I trust your judgment, so trust mine. I'll look out for him, Rambo says, and Phil nods. Good. One thing or another, they're finding this Theseus. Theseus hates the chair. He hates it so much it burns inside of him, even as he remains silent as he's led to it. He's been told it's necessary. He cannot refuse. Not if he wants to live. The room is white and cold. He sits on a metal chair, allows himself to be strapped in. The guards leave the minute he's secured. Soft music fills the room and he clenches his fist to stop the flinch. He shudders at the notes, remembers dancing to it. Drakoshki. The Sleeping Beauty spells out, and Theseus shuts his eyes, trying to relax his body. It's easier if he's calm. It doesn't hurt as much. An intercom crackles to life. He waits. A woman coos, and Theseus shudders, mind burning. There's a modest house with a lawn, freshly mowed. Dream his brother, plays soccer and always has Theseus' back. No, that's not right. There's a modest house with a lawn, freshly mowed. Clay, his brother, plays soccer and always has Tom's back. Yes, that's right. Out came the sun and dried the rain. The woman with black hair smiles at them as they hunt, hunger in her gaze. No, that's not right. So the itsy bitsy spider. The woman continues, voice soft. Clara, their mother, smiles at them as they play fight, warmth in her gaze. They paint the perfect picture of a family that love one another. Yes, that's right. I'm up this part again. She finishes. For a moment, the music floats in Theseus' ears. He's shaking, mind burning. Memories are deleted and written over, wisps falling between his fingertips. He does not resist. The guards re-enter the room. Huntsman, she asked in Russian over the intercom. Theseus snaps back into his body. The memories that have been lost obviously aren't important. He will not mourn for something he does not need. Ready to comply. Tommy honestly doesn't know how he ends up in these situations. He swears he's been cursed. That would explain the room. It would explain his entire childhood. Before him, containers are filled with people, mostly young women, but there is a variety. A few older women, a couple of children, a handful of young men. For a second, he stands among the dead bodies of traffickers. He loosens himself to his memories of dark corridors and dancing on point, of small meals and hard hits, of Dream's laugh and Sapnap's smile and George's scoff, but gun in his hand and a knife to the ribs, of sleeping with his hands cuffed to the bed frame and bones breaking under his fist. Tommy stalks away from their terrified faces to the row of bushes to remove his mask, and promptly throws up his entire stomach contents. He retches, body shaking as he tries to calm the pounding of his heart, tries to calm his breathing. He cannot break here. He will not break here. Weapon in his mouth, he winces as he tugs the mask back into place. He has a job to do. Turning back, the people inside immediately draw away, flinching from him. Something inside of him violently cracks. He knows their fear too well. Only then does he realize that he's still holding his gun. Slipping it into its holster, he holds up his hands in surrender. I'm not going to hurt you, he says, switching his accent completely to resemble the New Yorker. He wasn't going to panic them further with a Russian one. I'm not with them, obviously, or I wouldn't have shot them in the face. They all continue to blink at him, with slow movements. He starts to rifle through the dead trafficker's pockets until he finds a phone. He dials 911, and when the line clicks through, a woman asks for his business. He responds. Outside the Badlands, near the water, there's 3 containers filled with people who I assumed are being trafficked. There's a couple of dead guys. Send help and food. He does not wait for her response. He clicks off, throwing the phone back to the dead man, and turns to the group before him. Where the containers are placed in a semicircle, he meets with 3 groups of eyes. They watch him cautiously, more confused after hearing his phone call. I'm going to sit over there, he says, and steps back. I swear I'm not going to hurt any of you. I'll be gone the minute the cops are here. He keeps stepping back until he's near one of the traffickers' cars. He hops onto the hood and takes out the gun, releasing the magazine and swapping it for a loaded one. The minute the action is complete, he places the gun back into his holster and leans back on his hands, watching out for flashing blue lights. Slowly, the people start to exit. They hesitate, watching him with terrified eyes, but he doesn't move, doesn't even twitch. He remembers the small box and dream mobs of solitary. He remembers missions spent stealing with greedy hands and dark gazes. He remembers learning the art of dissociation to hide from the horrors. It only takes 5 minutes before the sound hits his ears. Sirens. Flashing blue lights. He is pulled from his thoughts and he shifts to watch them approach. They draw closer and he jumps from the hood, leaving the people behind. He'd rather not talk to any police of any kind. His missions normally revolve around exploiting corrupt individuals, and he's seen sets that pay off police from a variety of countries. He wanders through the Badlands district, makes his way back to his apartment. The industrial park is filled with warehouses, considering the port and is the backbone to supporting Lemmenburg's economy. It's mostly empty as he walks the dark streets, but that might be because he's not close to any of the houses. Past the warehouses, a forest sets. On the other side of the forest, the wealthiest part of Lemmenburg stands. Tommy's pretty sure he heard of a house filled with diamonds. Why can't he ever patrol the wealthiest parts? Tommy wonders what's hidden in some of these warehouses. He's been in more than enough that he can assume that most villains and criminals see warehouses as the best place for their operations. Maybe it's because they're secluded and large enough to hide many illegal things inside of them. He's been followed. Keeping the same pace, he walks around one of the warehouses and crawls to another. It's quiet, almost too quiet, but he can feel their stare, feel the weight of it. There's not many places to run or hide, and the forest is too far away to be a good long-term plan. He won't interact until he has a gateway plan. And then he spots the car park. A poisoned blade falls into his palm. He freezes where he stands. So, he calls in his New York accent, spinning in a slow circle. Why are you following me? From behind a warehouse, a woman appears from the corner, dressed in a long red coat, a red tuxedo and trousers, with a red tricorn hat atop of her white, curly hair. The captain, then. The #1 hero. You saved all those people and yet you left the minute the cops showed up, she states, like it's obvious. I wanted to see who does that. Tommy raises an eyebrow. It's not like she'd be able to see it considering the HUD. I tend to stay away from the cops when I just shot a bunch of people. She snorts, steps closer. He instantly steps back. Well, they were bad people. I'm still a murderer. She winces. He shrugs. I am, and I don't want to end up in a cell. She studies him briefly and says, Was that a threat? He shrugs again. Depends. Are you going to put me in a cell? The captain laughs. Actually laughs. He tilts his head. What is it with Lemmenburg and the strange people that reside here? No, like I said, those were bad people. And you have a reputation anyways, Theseus. He wills his body to stay relaxed. She takes a step closer. He steps back, blade digging into the material of his glove. A reputation? He asked. I didn't realize the captain was so soft. She smiles at him. Just because I don't want to see you unmasked in a cell doesn't mean I'm soft. So, can I leave? She looks at him, flickers her hand as her eyes turn red. Tommy moves before she can blink. The knife flies from his hands through the air and into her shoulder. She staggers back and there he is, flipping her over his shoulder and into the ground. For a moment she struggles, eyes wide, before the poison sets in, body falling lax. It lasts 10 minutes, he tells her, plucking the blade from her shoulder, wincing at the blood. No lasting effects, just a quick paralytic. I don't want to hurt you. He shifts her body to sit up against the warehouse wall, hidden by the lack of light. He smiles at her, even if she can't see it. Sorry. It was nice meeting you, Captain. With that, he turns and sprints. The car parked its wheels with playing cars as he still remembers the absolute tantrum George threw in a mission because Theseus hasn't been taught how to drive, and George refuses to. The poor Australian road had to deal with a child behind the wheel, while his elder and handler at the time shouted how to drive while leaning halfway out of the vehicle with a sniper rifle, shooting at the police and the bodyguards of the mark they killed who were following them. 20 minutes later, he ditches the car in a parking lot of Walmart and makes his way to his apartment. There's a lingering taste of bile in his mouth. His stomach twists in knots. Those containers, those people, they left him feeling raw, edges sharp and sore. He knows leaving the room wouldn't instantly heal him, but he didn't think it would have its claws in him this deeply. It's in the way he talks, in the way he walks. It's the memories of a family that might never existed. It's sleepless nights and the obsession with storing away food. It's watching child movies and vomiting up his breakfast. It's flickering over book titles and remembering the hardness of the covers against his head. It's soft pillows he can't use. It's the emptiness in his ribcage that yearns for someone to understand, to see his broken pieces and hold them together. It's not understanding people, but understanding them too well. Would a quackery help? Would he accept his truth and not resent him? Would Nikki offer a hug that he starves to have? Would she be afraid? Would Wilbur turn him away? Would he despise the person he is? Pain burns up his arms from his fingers. He blinks away the haze in his mind. He's in his dark apartment, breathing heavily. There's a crack on the brick from where his fist made contact. He sighs, closes his eyes, and takes a deep breath. It's okay, little spider, Dream whispers from his mind, and Tommy instantly shudders. I'm here. I won't leave you. I'm sorry, he whispers to his brother, even if it's only a figment of his subconscious. Don't be, Dream breathes. You did what any huntsman would. You survived. But did you? Tommy asked, opening his eyes, and when he looks over his shoulder, no one is there. He takes off his huntsman gear and looks up for the Russian news. There's nothing about the room. He looks for any criminal underground news that would circulate. Nothing. Aloud he asked, Did you survive? Dream does not appear. Tommy hangs his head. Tears build in his eyes, but he blinks them away. He will not cry for something he never had in the first place. He takes a cold shower with a terrible water pressure and brushes his teeth. He climbs into his too soft bed, grabs the Glock under his pillow. He does not sleep. End of chapter. Hello, this is Ink again. I've been sick, and that's why this took a while, and also had to deal with some personal problems. Well, not problems, but things in my life. So I didn't have time to read this. But I did now, so be prepared for the next one, I guess. Bye!